All right. I hope you're having a great day. We are heading into another Aetherdrift draft here. Had some good success with the last couple decks, both some blue-based decks. Sorry if I'm sounding a bit off today. Had a bit of a long night with the little one, so a little bit out of it this morning. Okay, so pack one here. Looking at the commons, nothing that I really want to first pick out of these. Uncommons, Broodwagon is excellent. Spike Spitter I think is quite strong in a Start Your Engines deck, so build around it, but the payoff is there with effectively drawing an extra card each turn. Redshift I haven't played with, and honestly I haven't played against that much. I think most of the time it's just a 2-mana 2/3 that lets you activate your exhaust abilities faster, which is fine, but unexciting. And then there's Burnout Bastronaut, which I've been very impressed by in aggressive red decks that I've been playing, particularly black-red. So I'm happy enough taking that. I hope Spike Spitter tables. I would kind of be surprised, though, because I don't think this pack is that strong. So pretty easy Burnout Bastronaut pick one, in my opinion. Pick two here. Nothing great to pair with the Bastronaut, honestly. Cruiser's a good card. Definitely want to be playing it mostly in the green-black, but I could see you playing it in blue-black as well. Velocitor has been fine for me, but I think really it's a red-white card most of the time. Rover Blades, I've kind of been unimpressed by when playing against it. And then we're kind of looking at Runover here. Ride's End is also fine, but I think Runover is probably stronger, and I'd rather pair red-green than red-white with this first pick. So I'll take the Runover here over these uncommons. Okay, pick three. Pathmaker is quite strong. Obviously doesn't pair with our first two picks. I think Sideswipe, as long as you've got stuff to sack, like one or two things, this can be quite good, because cards like Flood the Engines are very strong in this format and don't have a lot of answers, and this is a easy 2-for-1 against a Flood the Engines. So I think that's quite strong. Crash and Burn is a solid removal spell. I think here it's between the Crash and Burn and the Sideswipe. And I think let's just stay in the red. No, let's take Sideswipe, because I think this will pair well with red-black or red-green, whichever direction we end up heading in. Here, that's a Haunted Hellride, which is quite strong. Sky Crash is also very good in this format, and I don't know why this continues to get passed so late. Cloudspire Captain, I think, is fine in the red-white or white-green decks, but even there is just okay. Javelineer is a fine creature if we want to just stay in black. But I think here it's probably between Hellride and Sky Crash. And rather than get into a fourth color, let's just take Sky Crash. It's a good card. If we don't have targets for it, we just cycle it. Shape Thief is excellent. Mako is also very strong. So the question is, we've got a Bastronaut here. Is if we take Mako and do some aggressive red cycling deck, or Shape Thief as more of a defensive card. I think I'm in for Mako here. I think it's close, though. See, and now we're punished a bit because there's another Hellride. I mean, maybe we should have read that signal from the prior Hellride. We'd be getting out of red then, but our red picks were our first pick and a Sky Crash. Note there's a Paragon. if we want to just stick in the red and we do some like red-green deck. Or there's Gunner. Yeah, I think we just take the Paragon here. Okay, so there's a bunch of kind of medium red cards here. There's a risky shortcut, which is quite good with the start your engines side, but we're kind of between a bunch of things right now in our red. I don't think it's Velocitor, because it's not how we're playing any of these decks. Could be Goda. Or even a Kickoff Celebrations, because it starts your engines and cycles. Yeah, I think I'm in for that. Just leaves us open at this point. Okay, it feels like we should have been in blue-black. The blue cards here are not really what we care about. I think we're just in for Goda. There is an Oil Gorger. For start your engines payoff. Take that. Ironclad as a cycler versus Raceway as another start your engines card. I think I'll take Ironclad. Yeah, some sort of artifact based deck was definitely open here. I guess we'll just pull heavy and push someone else into the artifacts to hope that we get cards that we want coming back around. I think it's actually Sarcophagus here because it starts your engines. So let's take a quick peek at what we're looking at. I think we're out on the green. We didn't see any green. So we've got basically just a bunch of kind of medium cards right now. We really need to find some payoffs, and this pack is not really going to offer it to us. If we'd gone the blue-black route, we'd have a Roadside Burnout as a pretty easy pick. I think we're probably looking at either the Engine Rat or the Goblin Surveyor. How many start your engines do we have? Sarcophagus, Celebration, Bastronaut. I don't count the Oil Gorger, it's too high on the curve. I think we'll take the Surveyor. I've been impressed by this as just a solid start your engines card. And here, I think it's fairly easy Lightning Strike out of this pack. Again, we'll probably see some green cards here because we didn't see any in the first pack, but I think we're pretty set on what we're doing. So spin out. Don't think we're doing the push the limits thing. We've only got the Ironclad right now. It's a Night Market too, but I think we just take the removal spell here. So we got Sky Crash, Swipe. Yeah, we're just going to take the spin out. So another side swipe versus a Crash and Burn. We don't have a ton right now that we want to sack. But the Flood the Engines, I think, is just so good that I'm feeling like I might want to take side swipe, and then I'm hoping to get some other payoffs around it. We've got some other solid enough removal. Let's take the card with a little more upside here, I think, in the side swipe. Because if we can get some cheaper vehicles as well, that could be some fuel for us to be able to cast this as well. So I think I'm looking for cheap start your engines cards. The Mako, we don't really have many cyclers for right now. Of course, there's the other one. There's the Flood your engines that we were talking about. What do we have? We have one cycler, one Sky Crash, one Celebrations. I'm just debating the second Sky Crash versus maybe an Engine Rats. I could see maybe a Dracosaur as well. It's just a top end card to have. Yeah, maybe we'll go with that here. Expect I'll probably see another Engine Rats at some point, and then Thrill Seeker is perfect. So again, this signals that while we probably could have been somewhere else with our draft, we did a good enough job cutting off the black and red that we can now get a late Thrill Seeker, which is a good sign for us. We'd be happy as well with a Gunner, probably, but this is exactly what our deck wants. So I think we're going to end up seeing if we're playing the Mako or not, but in the meantime, we'll just start taking the Signpost cards. I haven't played with the runner too much, but I'm going to give it a shot over something like Overdrive. We've got other removal anyways, so let's take this and see how it plays. Here, I think we take the Burner Rocket since we've got a pair of Sideswipes to go with it, but it's really more of a pump spell plus fuel for Sideswipe than it is a vehicle that we're going to leverage super efficiently. So no one really in Boros, no surprise. I guess we'll just take Wreck Remover. I don't think we're really playing it. Nothing here for us. I guess we'll take Backwater in case some crazy blue card comes around that we want. Another Burner Rocket is alright. So yeah, I'm kind of looking at whether we're playing those cards, honestly. Ironclad is probably on the fence as well now since we've got the other vehicles. I don't think I need Artillerist at the moment. Okay, another Thrill Seeker is perfect. There's a Lightning Strike as well. But I think I'd rather just have the creature. Got a pair of Sideswipes, so Lightning Strike is a spin out already. It would be great to take a Lightning Strike, but the 2-drop that is the Signpost uncommon for our deck is exactly what we want. Okay, this pack is kind of underwhelming for us. There's a Deathless Pilot, which can crew and saddle the Dracosaur and the Runner. We do have other 3-power... we've got a couple of 3-power creatures. So that or the Gunner. I think I'm better off taking a 2-drop here. Gunner pairs well if we do decide we want to play the Mako, but... okay, a second Bastronaut is incredible. And I think we'd be happy to see either of these wheel. Probably the first Maximum Overdrive is better than the first Catalyzer for us at this point. Catalyzer would basically just replace Goda. But Bastronaut is incredible. We'd love another top-end card as well for the Start Your Engines payoff. Something like the Risen Necro Regent would be perfect. I think I'm just going to pull these out for now. And I think our deck is looking something like this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another Mako. Packdoll. Got 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts, I think. Yeah. Packdoll's not great for us. There's Pedal to the Metal. I think Burner Rocket's better in our deck. I guess we'll take the Mako and see if we end up having enough fuel for it. Oil Gorger over Specialist, I think, because we've got the pair of Makos if we need other cheat plays, and this is just another payoff for Start Your Engines. Another Oil Gorger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking at the Foul Roads, but I don't think I want to ruin my mana early to play that. So it's Oil Gorger or Siphon Fuel. I think I take Oil Gorger here, and I debate if I'm playing 3 of those in auxiliary or 3 Oil Gorgers or 2 in 1. Bobble is great with the Sideswipe. There's a Tyrox as well, but I think I'll just take the Bobble here. Risky Shortcut is perfect. Gives us some more card advantage while also helping get our speed up. Just take the black card. It's a catalyzer or a sarcophagus. We take catalyzer, I think. Yeah, catalyzer. Okay. So I think what we'll look at here, we've got 14 creatures and a runner. Pair of burner rockets. I think we're going to check out how much starter engines we have, if we need to play the celebrations for that as well. I think we've got a lot of cheap starter engines though, so we might not even need the kickoff celebration. Okay. So starter engines, let's start there actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Early ones with the kickoff celebration. I think that's pretty good. I could see cutting Dracosaur for just another Oil Gorger. Let's look at our creature count here. So pair of 1s, 6 2s. Paragon's kind of medium as well, honestly. Could see cutting the Paragon. Although it does pair well with the Apocalypse Runner. I think what I'm considering is just cutting this and cutting a land. We didn't get any dual lands, which is notable. We do have a celebrations though to cycle through our deck. Got a pair of side swipes to go with the burner rockets. We don't really have that many mana sinks. Like, we've got a pair of the Bastronauts, but otherwise we're just playing low to the ground. Like, our curve averages out at 2.5. So I think I'm okay playing 16 lands here. So I think we'll play this and see how it goes. All right, we are heading into the first game here, and this so this was actually a mull 2/6 opener. I think was missing a color, but this is fine. Nothing exciting, but we've got an early start your engines. Early game plays out with them countering some of my creatures. I get a Paragon down. They've got a Pact Altair, so I can't really deal with that cleanly, but what I can do is get aggressive with the Paragon, threaten the exhaust activation, and so I can actually pre-combat the Bastronaut there and ensure that I get to speed 2 this turn and then still have a follow-up play. So I have 3 creatures on board now. They end up going wide as well. They do get a Spike Shell Harrier to bring me off of the max speed, but then I'm at a point now where I just want to get aggressive, and I debate whether or not I should just exhaust here, but decide I think it's safer to ensure that I get my max speed up. In hindsight, what I probably should have done is Burner Rocket plus Lightning Strike there. That way I could keep my Paragon alive. But I had to follow up with 3/3 anyways, and then with the Streaking Oil Gorger online and them having no flyers, there's just no way for them to outrace me. They're just hoping to find removal for that 3/3 flyer. They don't get there, and so that closes out game 1. Game 2 here, excellent opener. I've got Bastronaut on 1, followed up by either just a 2-drop or a Grim Bauble and a creature as removal. So excellent keep. It'll kind of be the pattern of these matches, is having the Bastronaut on 1. Considering I had a pair of them, I was quite consistent being able to find them. Here it was just Bastronaut went off. I got to max speed early. Oil Gorger started getting in there. They play a big ground creature in the Captain Howler, but at this point I can just get aggressive with the Sarcophagus. If they choose to block, then I'll just Grim Bauble the Captain Howler, and that way I still have Bauble plus the Hellish Sideswipe to remove anything else, and then I can also Bastronaut as follow-up. So they were just doing very slow plays early on, and they just couldn't keep up with the aggression effectively here. I'll note kind of now as well, but we'll see it in future games. The Streaking Oil Gorger was definitely a strong performer through all of the matches. I think if you don't have the Risen Necroregent, you want to be taking the Oil Gorger pretty highly, I think, as your top end payoff here, because the other Start Your Engines cards I've been less than impressed by for the top end element. Here though, again, turn 1 Bastronaut, turn 2 Thrill Seeker. Like, this is the perfect aggressive hand. Opponent is doing the same thing as us. They've also got a Bastronaut, but we've got the hyper aggressive line here. We'll just go 1 drop, 2 drop, and see if they can keep up. They do manage to go wide here, but I can just get aggressive with my 2 Bastronauts. They've got 3 blockers. I've got 2 menace creatures, and they're tapped out. And so here I'm guaranteed to get lethal. It was Bastronaut again overperforming here. This card should not be underrated. It has been extremely powerful for me every time I've played it. Just having a 1-drop that can easily get your max speed going by like turn 4 is so strong. Game 4, got a Grim Bauble, got 2 Thrill Seekers, and a couple other 2-drops. Again, pretty excellent opener. Opponent has a 1-drop here, but it doesn't line up well against a 2-3, so we just are going to start running out the Thrill Seekers, get our max speed up. We get kind of into the mid game here. They've got 3 mana open. We've just got a Grim Bauble. I had gone through the earlier turns and it seemed like they'd had a run over. So I got to this point and figured, you know what, I'm going to force them to use it here. They're going to kill my Surveyor, but I'm going to be able to get to max speed anyways and effectively trade a Grim Bauble and a Surveyor for a Grease Wrench and a run over. And I think in this situation where we're just looking to be aggressive, we are totally fine with this line. I think I did a slight misplay here. I should have waited till post-combat to play the Sarcophagus in case they had the 1 mana red shock effect. That way I wouldn't have lost my Sarcophagus. We didn't get punished there for it, but something to be aware of. Here they are getting aggressive with the Afterburner Expert because they had actually binned a second one early on. And I think this is kind of the interesting, I wouldn't say turning point because we end up closing out this game, but where they could put a massive amount of pressure back on us and we have to figure out, okay, how am I dealing with this? We're both low life total, and I decide I'm probably winning with my flyer here. The lifelink, again, on the Oil Gorger looked so good as the top end card in this deck. Puts me extremely comfortable position now. They can't get through the Thrill Seeker easily, and it basically gets down to a point where they've got a wide board, but I've got just enough in terms of blockers to avoid lethal, and I've got a flyer in the Oil Gorger that they can't deal with. And so we end up closing out this game as well. So perfect record so far. It won't stay that way, but running smooth with the aggressive deck here. So game 5, surprise, surprise, turn 1 Bastronaut. Goes extremely smoothly. We find a second Bastronaut as well. And so the opponent is going to have to react quickly to what we've got here. We managed to get both on board. They do have a Hull Squad heavy, but at this point, I think this is kind of an interesting line here. I decide to play Burner Rocket before the Breaker ability resolves, because what I can do is give my Pilot +2/+0, which is kind of what I was planning on doing anyways to block the heavy in combat. and this way I can sack the burner rocket to the momentum breaker ability to save my Deathless pilot. I know later I could always rebuy that, but at this point I just want to keep the pressure off of us and on them, since we're effectively in a black-red mirror. They end up playing the Dracosaur Auxiliary, not saddling it and killing anything, and then deciding to swing out, leaving themselves dead on board. I don't know if that really made a difference, because we had a spin out in hand anyways to deal with the auxiliary if they didn't attack, or to kill the heavy to open up attack lines, but they definitely got a little bit too aggressive, didn't do the math properly here, and thankfully the Bastronauts helped us close that game out. So this game here is where we end up taking our first loss. We have to take a mulligan here, bin our payoff card. We have a Bastronaut on 1 still, and Deathless Pilot and Spin Out to follow up. Notably here though, we only have a single black mana, so we can't actually spin out on curve, and you'll see as the game progresses here that we're still missing our second black mana. Here they can rebuy a Broodwagon out of the yard, kill our Bastronaut, and now we're kind of in an awkward position where we can't make any play on turn 4. We get max speed up, but they've now got a reach creature, and then they end up slamming a speed demon as well. And this is where I make a misplay here. I decide to get aggressive with the Oil Gorger and spin out whatever they choose to block with. What I should have done here instead is let it go to their turn, see what actions they take, and then react with a spin out, because I want them to take the speed demon damage. If they attack me, they're taking 4, and by killing this, I actually massively reduce my chance of winning this game now, because the way that I was probably going to win was them getting slightly aggressive this turn, them taking the speed demon damage, and then post-combat I kill their Broodwagon or end of turn kill their Broodwagon or their speed demon or something. But at this point, they've now established the board on the ground. They've got a momentum breaker. They end up following up with a second one as well. So there's just no way for me to close out this game effectively against the Broodwagon with reach. So a misplay on my end. I needed to read the context of that game a little better and understand that the way that they were going to lose was with Speed Demon killing them. So we've got one loss under our belt here. We've got a pretty solid opener with a pair of Bastronauts. But this is going to be another game that I think, just being a little low on sleep or something, I end up misplaying a block. I was expecting a different combat trick and end up getting blown out by something else. But here, their ride's ending, the Bastronaut. I'm wondering in that situation, I probably should have just kept it back, but I really want to be building up my max speed. It was just so obvious that they had something there though, and rather than walk into it, I probably would have been in a better position if I'd kept it back, and then they would have been on awkward mana. So here is where I misplay. They saddle the Lynx, and they only attack with the Lynx. I was playing around the white +2/+2 effect. I don't know why, frankly, because it's not as played as Maximum Overdrive. I initially line up the right block, which is just the Catalyzer, and then changed my mind in triple block and just get absolutely blown out by the Death Touch Indestructible. And so I think this is one where I just was not thinking, honestly, and just got totally blown out by that trick, and there's just no way back from it. I think if I hadn't have done that, I would have still had a decent chance in that game, because I had a bunch of pressure on board. I was 1 speed away from max speed, and so at least would have been a game rather than just a non-game in that situation. So trying to turn it around now, I ended up stepping away for a bit and taking a break and coming back. Excellent opener, Bastronaut Lightning Strike for their first creature, and then I've got a runner to help get my max speed up and the Gorger to try and close out. So as long as the Bastronaut survives here, I feel like I'm in good shape. Unfortunately, it does not, so it gets Grimbaubled. But I still managed to get my speed going. I've got a risky shortcut here to refuel. They're out of gas, notably. They are surveilling with their Broodheart engine, but I'm going to get max speed now with the Oil Gorger, if I so choose. And so I'm feeling like I'm in a decent position. I actually hold off here. The reason being is I'm staring down the Jaguar that I am quite certain they're going to attack with next turn. And I decide, you know what, I'm going to trade off my Apocalypse Runner with their Jaguar because it removes all the aggression they have. Everything else I can block cleanly on the ground. I know I've got other small creatures in hand with the Surveyor, Sarcophagus, and Thrillseeker. And so I'd rather just get their big threat off the board. And then my Oil Gorger can start getting in there and life linking myself up, securing my life total, and then I can end up closing out the game here with a top deck of Spin Out, get rid of their Ooze Patrol, and that's one more win under their belt. So we'll be heading into final game here, trying to get to the 7 wins. So in this last game, I'm not going to turn down a Bastronaut turn 1. We've got to kick off Celebrations to try and smooth out our hand on turn 2 also. And so we lead on the Bastronaut, get Celebrations going, find a second Bastronaut, find an Apocalypse Runner and a streaking Oil Gorger. And then here I just decide, you know what, let's run the vehicle out. Get the Bastronaut in for free to get our max speed up, and then I can always Oil Gorger next turn or just use unblockable Bastronauts to try and win as well. So we've got our max speed going, and this turn, we kind of let it play out here. They have a Hazard of the Dunes, but it's not really going to be saving them here. It just means it's probably not my Oil Gorger that's getting in anymore, but they actually decide that they're probably not blocking the Bastronauts, so they're just going to get aggressive. The problem is I've got the vehicle on board, and so this just means I can play my Oil Gorger, crew up my 6/5 vehicle now, and hit them back for 10. And so that attack for 3 damage now looks really bad because they're taking way more in return, and they just can't block with their Hazard of the Dunes, and effectively we just end up closing out the game because we dealt enough damage to them. They find some reasonable blockers for my attackers here, but I've just got risky shortcut to close it out. So that ends up being how we get to the 7 wins with this deck. Again, fumbled a little in those middle matchups, but end up still closing it out. I'd say no surprise here. The Burnout Bastronauts are exceptional in this deck. I think this is their home over Green-Red or anything else. And Gastal Thrillseekers are so good. Burner Rocket was one that I think in these matches with this type of deck, because I was so low to the ground, they ended up looking quite good with the pair of Hellish Sideswipes I had. This was also my first time with the Apocalypse Runner, which looked quite solid. And as I mentioned earlier, making sure you have those top end threats, be it Oil Gorgers or Risen Necroregents, extremely important. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. Definitely enjoyed playing this deck. If you like this content, please leave a comment and subscribe. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.